Yep, my stream went. No. It should be back. We should be back, and it goes on the very back of the laptop. On the right side.
I'm gonna have to close the laptop slightly so I can do it.
Well, we'll have to work with it. I've recorded this anyway, so I'll just upload it to YouTube. Okay, thank you. Bye-bye. Right, welcome back. Welcome back, everyone. Sorry about that. Hi, Nina. But yeah, there was a load of interesting builders I went into in Pompeii to keep answering this question. So I went into a mansion that a wealthy man had owned, and there was like all murals on the floor, and like they could point to stuff and say that was so-and-so in ancient Rome. And we went into a brothel as well, and that was fascinating. Truly fascinating, like proper fascinating. I was just like, sex place fascinating. It's very genuinely historically interesting. But any building in Pompeii, I went in like 10 and they were all fascinating, which is one reason I want to go back. What the dumbest thing someone has argued with you about? Thank you for the gifted sub follow. A lot of dumb stuff. Me and Eno have had some dumb arguments. Me and Eno didn't talk for like 2 hours because we had an argument about an anime. We genuinely were just like, we were both annoyed with each other. I don't know why. Because we were both just like, yeah, this is like a dumb argument, but we both had it. Sometimes it happens. But yeah, I've definitely had many dumb arguments. What mythical creature do you wish actually existed? 14 werewolves. I wish 14 werewolves existed. What was the last time you immediately... I saw this one, Blethen. Right. Why 14? Because 13 would be too... Because 13 would be too few, and 15 would be too many, but 14 would be just right. Because with 14 werewolves, you could have 1 an hour and then have 10 hours sleep afterwards. It is a little bit of an inside joke, but I've made it a couple of times. It's a very Fox thing to say. When was the last time you said something and immediately regretted it? I will tell you this story, and you must not judge me for this, right? I have a friend who has a deaf mother, and I made a joke about him calling his mother, and then immediately remembered that his mother was deaf. And he was like, well, I won't be calling her, will I? And I was like, oh no, why did I say it? I knew that as well. Why would I do that? Luckily enough, I played it off, but... Right, see you later, Emo. Have a good one. And thank you everyone for sticking around, even though the stream went down. I'm very sorry about that. I forgot to plug... We had my laptop apart earlier to check something on the inside, and I forgot to set it back up. But yeah, that was I definitely regretted saying that. Because I knew it as well. I immediately, as soon as I said it, I was like, that was dense. Where is the best place you've been for taking walks? With the dog or without? With the dog? There's... Right, this is a good one, but it's a good story attached to it as well. There's a reservoir down by us. About a 10-15 minute drive. And it's a really nice walk. You can walk all the way through these woods and everything, right? But the last time I went there... Ellie likes to jump in water, but she only likes to go so deep. She doesn't like to go too far. But we went with another friend who was walking their dog at the same time, and their dog loves to go all the way in. And Ellie was basically trying to copy this other dog, so she would go like paddling a little bit, and then the other dog would go all the way in, and she'd go a little bit more, and she'd go a little bit more, and eventually this other dog started swimming. So she was like, I'm going to give it a go. And she went in, immediately went up, and went, I don't like this. And immediately like doing this, trying to get back. And I'm like, I'm going to have to go in there and get her, aren't I? Luckily enough, she managed to get her foot and came back. But I was just like, you dumb mammal. Like, she was like, I'm going to give it a go. She did it. And she was like, no, I don't like this at all. This is an actual regret. She's like panicking, trying to get back. She's lucky enough she went in, but I was like, I'm going to have to go in there, aren't I? In my fully clothes, everything, I'm going to have to go in and get my dog. Luckily enough, she didn't do it in the end. But I was like... Dumb animal. Dumb animal. And then, to add insult to injury, because she was off the lead as well, she saw another family that was sitting nearby, and she decided to run up and go say hi, because my dog is friendly to everyone, right? So she runs up, gallop, 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 jumps up onto the bench, jumps up on the boy's shoulders, and starts basically panting in his ear for affection, right? Only one problem, no judgment, obviously, I'm just saying, the kid, the guy, the boy, was about 14 or so, and he was also incredibly, he was like high tier autism, like low function autism, like very high tier, to the degree where he couldn't speak properly, which I felt immediately sorry for the parents, as you do. But it also meant my dog climbed on this child, and the child just looked at her, went, and started crying, and I'm like, no. Yeah, Ellie, come here right now. I'm going like, shouting. Of course, if I shout, my voice goes octave, so I sound like a 12-year-old girl. And the parents going, it's okay, it's fine. I'm getting you stupid on it. Come here. And the kids are going, and crying. I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ. So I haven't been back for a walk there since, because it was just like one disaster after another. I was like, oh, it's lovely that she was just like, friends. But and it was nice that the parents were understanding, but I was just like, I was mortified. I was genuinely mortified. I've never been so embarrassed in my life. What artist band do you always recommend when you ask? If you ask for a music recommendation of stuff I like, I say Bring Me the Horizon, because I love Bring Me the Horizon. They're my favorite band, and they have a great variety of music, so you can normally get something out of it. But like I have a very like, I'm an emo kid. As you can tell by the fact that I've got bright red hair, I'm a bit of an emo kid. So you know, like MCR and My Chemical Romance, it was sort of my jam back in the day. But yeah, like you're asking me for my music choice. Like, I'm I'm a bit of a corner case. I don't like normal music. Although I really, really like the Accidentally in Love from Shrek 2. Go figure. What's incredibly cheap and you would pay way more for? You, Blethen. You'd give me everything for a £5 and I'd pay way more than that. Oh, woo. Oh, woo. I like Linkin Park as well. Linkin Park, very good. How's Nino? Very wet. Probably. Yes, Blethen asked me a great many questions, which I appreciate, but how are you? I'm ignoring that one, Blethen. Blethen was very bored. Best place to get a drink? Tamari's house. If you've never seen his bar, take a look at my last post on Instagram. That's all Tamari's. That's his entire bar. Like, I've posted many pictures there, and that's all Tamari's. What's the story in Balamory? I'm ignoring you now. What's the story behind you and Nino? Already did that one. How much does he spend on that? Probably too much, though we've helped contribute to it occasionally. So, why are you cute? Because I'm afraid to say, Mr. Anonymous Person, you're furry trash. And you find fursuits cute. It is what it is. I'm sorry to say. I'm going to take a drink quickly. It's warm. I'm so warm. Hands. Otherwise, I'm going to get alcohol over my pores, and I don't really want to do that. And I got to wash my soon anyway, but even still. You're going to make me bonk again? Can't believe you guys are making me bonk myself. All right, Valor. Have a good sleep. I will speak to you very soon, lovely boy. And be good. I put my paw on the wrong way around. Wrong way around. Bonk! Hear that wind in the background. It is miserable here. Nina just walked the dog in that. Lol. Why are you cute? I am. I can't deny it. Who is your favourite fursuiter? when I was first getting into the fandom, I really liked Telephone Suit. That was one of the first suits I liked. Because I wasn't really big on fursuits at first. It was only after a little while when I started really like hanging out with a lot more people who had suits that I started really getting into them. I really like Manuel the dog from Mixed Candy. That's a really nice suit. And I love all my friends' suits. So, you know, Tamari, Aiko, KCS, Dendon's got a really nice suit. Flare, Kisma. Kisma's a good one. I really like Kisma. Kisma waited ages for his suit and it came out gorgeously. I have many friends and I love all their suits. Great many. Daisy's suit is amazing. I love them all. I'd have them all in my bed. And Blair, then your suit is wonderful as well. I really like your suit actually. I really like the eyes on your suit. I think they got like such a nice sharp angle on them that they're like. It's very hard to explain it, but the colours of it as well, and because you've got the green eyes, they really stand out. I think your suit is really nice. I've always loved the colours on that. Because I stood out when I saw it, and I was like, a furry artist followed you. Maybe they're following you. Followed. And hi, Raider. If I hadn't commissioned Lacey, who would you have gone with? There's a couple of artists that I really like. I was going to go with a UK one called Blue Fox, though I'm glad I didn't because they had issues with their build quality from what I know for a couple of suits. A couple of my friends were like, they weren't too happy. I was going to go with Zuki. They did, if you have a look at Tukio Wild Dog, they did Tukio, and I was thinking about going with them, but I never heard back from them. I nearly went with Don't Hug Cacti, and I'm very glad I didn't. Very glad. The StreamYards one finally works. It's the first time I've seen it work. I think the settings on it too high. But then I remember I was sitting down. Actually, we went out for a meal with Tamari and a couple of Zane and a couple of other guys. And I was a bit upset because I'd only just heard back off Blue Fox to say that they wouldn't do it, and I was like, I still want to get a suit. I'm still determined. I want to do it. I don't know who to go with, and they were like, why don't you just go with Lacey? Lacey does amazing foxes. You'll really like it. You should really consider it. And I was like, okay, I'll just drop them an email, whatever, see what happens. And she was like, yeah, I'll take it on. Here's the quote. Yeah, I really like go for it as well. But I want to get another suit now. I want to get Scarlet, my wild dog Sona, done as a suit. And that is, I'm hoping, going to be Twinkie Arts. Because I can wait longer. Because I've already got Jags as a suit, I'm not too worried about rushing for another one. This one was a bit more like, I want a suit, I want it now, I want to do everything. When you get in a second suit, it's a bit like, yeah, I can wait a couple of years for it, whatever. I want to go with Twinkie Arts, so I might have to wait for a couple of openings. I've said to Nino, we might actually have to consider it sooner rather than later, because it'll take 2 years to be done. But that would be my next one. I really want to get Twinkie Arts Wild Dog, because Twinkie does some amazing dogs. And I really want, they got lovely big snooters, and I really like those. I actually think I'm coming to near the end of my questions. Oh yeah, I am. I have 2 left. And I can't scroll down to the last one, which is a bit embarrassing. What has COVID made you miss the most? People. Definitely people. Definitely just going out and doing things. It was very much not for granted that I could be like, I'm going to go to London first for a weekend and just hang out for a day, go up to London first, drive up, do the meet, come back. It was very much taken for granted that I could do that. Haven't been able to do that. Can't even be like, I really kind of miss people. I might just go to Cardiff first. Can't do that. For several months, Tamari and Aiko live 10 miles away from us. And we couldn't just go, we'll just go down there. My sister had a baby boy in October. I've only seen him twice. Because especially with my sister being a newborn, a mother to a newborn as well. We couldn't go down there for ages. Couldn't just go see my parents. It was Mother's Day, can't go see my parents. So, all those experiences that you kind of can't do too much with those. I miss, and it really made me take it for granted. But I do think that when events go back on, I'll probably go to a bunch of them in one go. And then I probably won't bother going to any for a while again, because I'll be like, all right, now I'm burned out, now I've done too much. I've sent too many people. Someone's asked, but I can't scroll down to it because... is, have you ever worn someone else's fursuit? And the answer is yes. I've worn two people's fursuits. I wore my friend, one of my friend's fursuits at Compulso 2017. It was my first experience suiting. And I've worn Tamari's suit multiple times. There's a video somewhere of me doing his wearing his suit, and he's like, "This is gonna go horribly wrong," because it was like one of my first times. That's it for my curious cat. I went through those surprisingly quickly. I could go through some of my older ones. Yeah, I think seeing people is something that a lot of people have missed out on now, which kind of sucks. I think there'll be a lot of catching up to do, because like I want to go out with it. It's one thing I really like doing was going to the London meets. It's a fair drive, but we need to see that video. Theo, you have to speak English, dear. We need to see that video. Oh, God, yeah. It's somewhere on my phone, probably. Where they're just like, oh, this is going to go horribly wrong. Because it was like one of my first times putting the suit on. But yeah. I'm looking forward to doing events. I don't know how many I can actually get away with. I know I want to do conventions, but I doubt it will be this year now. Because I don't think you'll have many go on if they do go on at all. But luckily enough, I'll be vaccinated. So I'll be able to go to any conventions when they do happen. Next year, I really want to do America. I really need to do an American con at some point. I need to experience it. I've done America before. I've gone to America, but I only went to visit someone. I've never been to like a wide American event, and I've got loads of American people I want to meet, because America has great furries. But we will definitely experience an American con. I definitely want to go out, and I definitely want to see that. But there's loads of stuff I want to do. Yeah, I've run out of curiosity. I've 45 questions. Well, I skipped some of Blethen's, admittedly. Sorry, Blethen. I've gone through all 45 questions. I've done it. And it only took me an hour. Sad. Sad. I shouldn't have put my full suit on. I think this is the longest I've worn my full suit since... probably the last London first meet I went to, where we went on when you go to I'm sure Blenheim you'll experience this when you do your first London first meet. Yeah, Fox's Takeover. You can ask whatever you like. I wanted to do an hour and a half, so. I don't mind cutting it a bit shorter because I'm warm, but I don't want to go right, that's it, okay, bye guys, and not give anyone a chance to ask questions in between the questions I've already been getting. Yeah, when you do London Fairs, they have an event where, what's my favourite food? I'm not allowed to answer that one. It'll violate Twitch's terms of service. Question. But yeah, when you do a London meet, you go to the venue, right? And the newer the venue they're in is amazing for this. Then you've got a glass canopy that everyone hangs out in. So when it's cold or it's raining or whatever, you can still experience shooting outside with other people, and there's loads of space to do it in. But when it's nice, and there's some pictures you'll see, especially when we did the Christmas one last 2019, and you go for a walk and you come out of the bar, you go down the road, there's a park thing you go round. We did it in the summer once, and we did it in the winter. And in the summer, there was loads of people about, and we had loads of pictures where people were coming up, running up to us, oh my God, I gotta take a picture with you guys. And there's people coming up oh my God, you look so adorable, I gotta take a picture with you. These two girls came up, which they were going nuts. They were this is the best thing I've ever seen. And tourists, especially in London, which is a great experience, and one I've never had anywhere else, because Cardiff I've never suited at, and I don't really think I'd enjoy suiting in Cardiff, because when we've done it before, there was only 4 or 5 suiters, and there's a difference between doing it between 4 or 5 of you and doing it, you know, as a group of like 30 or 40. We've done, there was an event I didn't suit at, but I wanted to do it again, where we went down Cardiff Bay. And it was a fun event till we got kicked off, because it turns out, if you've ever been to Cardiff Bay, which I don't expect you all to have, you've got Cardiff Bay where you come down, and then there's like a boardwalk, and there's loads of shops. And what we didn't realise at the time is that it's privately owned. And they told us off because we were technically wearing masks, and you're not allowed to wear masks. And that would change now, obviously, but because they couldn't see the faces, they couldn't record them on CCTV. We had to move, so we had to walk along the road, which was a little bit crap, but there's some really nice photos. If you ask Tamari, he's probably got better photos because I didn't take too many. I was a handler at the time. We got like some amazing photos of us like down the beach, down the front, where like you've got like the sea as the background. There's some amazing photos of it there. My favourite FurCon is Confuzzled, because I've only done 2. And Furk was a little bit of a washout for me last time I went. I didn't enjoy it. I had a lot of problems with Furk. Although I think going again and actually paying money as opposed to cheaping out would be better. Because when we went to Furcation, we stayed in what they called the lodges. And they were basically like a tiny, tiny, crappy little room. The oven set off the smoke alarm, so we couldn't cook any food. What else did we have? So the oven, the walls were so thin that we were roomed next to someone who's working con ops, and they had to get up at 6 o'clock every morning, and I got woken up by their alarm. So at 6 o'clock every morning, I'd be awake. So I'm at a convention, and I'm sat there 6 o'clock in the morning watching TV. And you had no signal either, so you couldn't exactly look at your phone to do anything. I don't even know how strong a Welsh accent I have, so I don't know how much I'd pay. I don't. Well, I might have a Welsh accent to other people, but I've never considered myself to have a proper Welsh one. I've always thought it was a little bit like higgledy-piggledy, but apparently it's pretty strong. But I can never really tell. I know it gets worse when I get drunk. I know that much, but I think I've got more like... My mother doesn't really have a strong accent either. She tends to pick off of other people, and I think I end up doing something similar where my accent tends to like go more towards who I'm speaking to. Like if I'm speaking to someone with a more like Northern English accent, my accent tends to shift as well. But I don't know. I don't know. Some money, $5. I don't really know. Unless it was being shifted to like a terrible accent, then I'd probably be a little bit more of a thing. Not that many people would argue Welsh accent isn't terrible. See, I've had people tell me, but I can never really tell, to be honest. I guess it depends what I'm saying. If I'm saying something that's particularly Welshy, like, whose coat is that jacket? It really comes through. Thank you. I still think my voice is like a slight bit too high. I'm going to take another drink, which means... Pause. I really need a better solution for taking a drink than this. This was a terrible solution. I don't like the naked hands. It ruins the illusion for people. Eurofriends would go nuts. These are my gamer hands. You can tell they're gamer hands because they're immediately like very red because I've been playing games all day. Thank you. What else did you have when foxes take over? Challenge me. Fingers. Gamer hands. I put my paw on the wrong way. Hello? Ah! Ah! What job can I do if you do anything? See, the job I wanted to do was getting into programming, and I'm doing that. I wouldn't mind doing game development, but I also feel like game development would kind of be a don't meet your hero thing, where you think, like, it's amazing I'm building a game, and you'd end up spending 10 hours working on, like, getting a health bar to go down, and it'd be just frustrating. You may as well work on web development if you're going to be annoyed by your job. But yeah, what I'm doing now is interesting enough that I don't really worry too much about what I'd want to do in the future, but I'd like to move more into software dev. Yeah. I'd like to do game development as a hobby because you get to work on the cool stuff. So even if you're working on something that's frustrating or boring, Like, at least you'd have like a backup of, well, I'm working on this really cool thing today, like a certain type of enemy I'm developing that does this really cool thing, and I get to make it happen. But I guess it's the same as I built a Zelda tracker app. Actually, I built it on my phone and it actually does work, but I can't get it to deploy properly. And it was essentially just working with databases. So it was a bit boring to be like, oh, well, look at this table, do this, do that. But the meta product of making it and being like, right, I can load this onto my phone and then I can play as a Legend of Zelda game and do the checking off as I do it was insanely cool. Because I was like, oh, I'm actually using my programming talent to make something that was bugging me personally. Because I was like, I really want to be able to check off items as I'm playing. And it came to a head because when I was doing my Twilight Princess playthrough a couple of months back, I lost track of some of the items I got. And I ended up spending like 2 hours having to go back through and revisiting items. And I was very frustrated. So I was like, I'm going to build something that fixes this. And I did. Thank you very much for the follow, Jaden5460. Yeah, but I think software dev is a standard compared to game development. If you really wanted to go into game development and you were doing something boring or frustrating, it would feel worse because it was something you wanted to go into as opposed to just like what I'm doing now, where you're just doing like standard programming stuff. And you're just like, well, it's a little bit boring, but it's work, and it's not a project that I'm like, this is insane. Going in thinking would be insanely cool, and then finding out it's boring, like game dev would be. And game dev is also apparently a horrible industry to work in if the Blizzard people are anything to go by, so no real loss. I can already feel myself going, I haven't suited for so long and I forgot how warm it is. It's not so bad when you go, maybe? I suppose it depends on the size of the project. Like, when I did the Ludden Did, I was one of 4 people building it. I realised that's 3. That's 4. I kind of count to 4. This is 3. There's 4 people building it. So I was personally very emotionally invested in it. If you're a team of like 60 people, then you probably wouldn't be so invested. And I know like 4, I counted to 4. A chef would be interesting, but I can't cook anyway. I cannot cook to save my life. I'm just awful at it. Don't know what it is. It's just I've got a special fox brain. Yeah, programming is interesting. I enjoy doing it. Like, I'm not going to do too much now. I'm going to I finished university. I'm going to take some time away from it. But I wouldn't be surprised if I go back in and start making something. Like, probably I'll the application I started developing for my uni project, I'm probably going to branch out and finish and try and deploy it and actually make it usable before I shift into game development. And I've got a couple of ideas, because I've got one idea that's a huge game idea that I would like to start working on, but I probably have to start recruiting people in to help me, because it is a ginormous idea and it's very complex. But it's based on a story that I had not so much written down because I didn't write a book, but I have the concept like basically written up years and years and years ago, where essentially it's based on, it is a furry idea, but it's the basic. Am I an octopus? Do I look like one? No, I don't think so. Blip. Foxtopus. Between friends, if I'm meeting, like if I go to a convention and I happen to know someone, count to 8. I can count to it. Count to 8. Count to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That is technically 8. It's just 8 or 8. Like they're both 8. I like hugs with friends. As I said, it's a very much a torn thing, because I don't mind hugs at conventions. Someone comes up to me and says, do you want a hug? Yeah, sure. Hug me. Whatever. But what you do find sometimes at conventions, and it hasn't happened to me so much at like Confuzzled, but it's definitely happened to me. It happened to me at Furcation, And it happened to me at a London's firm meet where someone comes up and doesn't say anything and just does something to you. And you're like, I can't see you. So especially because when you're in suit, your first instinct is if, for example, say you stood there and like you've got your eyes shut, right? Just close your eyes. If someone touched you on the hip, you would immediately think, that's a pretty intimate gesture. I must know this person. So I turned round, and this was done. They touched me on the hip. I turned round, and they weren't there. And then I felt another hand on my shoulder, and I was like, oh, someone I know, basically joking. And I turned round again, and it wasn't. I didn't recognize them at all. And all they said to me was, I love messing with suitors when they can't see me. And then they walked off, and I was just like, I was literally just so like, my entire brain was like, what? That I just shut down. Because like, if someone came up to me and hugged me and I was in suit, and if they came up to my friend and said, can I give you a hug? Sure. As long as they're not there for too long, and then as long as they're like, I had someone hug me before that, can I give you a hug? And I was like, sure. And they hugged me and they immediately went for my butt. And I was like, probably a bit personal, mate. Like you probably don't want to do that. And that's what I do kind of worry about. That people are like, they're a fursuiter, so they're clearly going to be open to, being touched without permission or me touching them wherever they like. And you're like, within reason. But certainly, like, for example, I go to a convention. If I see someone, my first instinct is to go up and hug them, especially if I haven't seen them for a while or if it's the first time I'm meeting them. But I certainly wouldn't say that I'm, like, a lot of people just like, oh, I really want to cuddle this fursuit. And I'm like, I'm probably not that. A hug is fine, but after that, I'm a little bit impersonal. I tend to, be like, yeah, probably a bit too friendly. You whittle? I'm whittle. I'm only short. I'm only 5'7". I'm whittle. And then Nino's like 6'2", so he's giant. Oh, you're taller than me then? That's not short. Anyone taller than me is a giant. Anyone shorter than me is a short ass. Those are the rules. There's only 2 rules here. I also really enjoy having the chat thing up. That's a great idea. I might do that more often. You're 5'10". You're taller than me. You're like up to here on me. I'm titchy. I'm 5'7". I'm so short, right? What is someone that's the same height? They're perfect. I'm an extrovert. I am definitely an extrovert. I definitely feed off other people's energy. Like, I'll go up and I'll talk to people. Yeah, so you're probably about as tall as my ears, I would say. I am very short, yeah. You are completely perfect, Oren. And you're called Oren, so you are very perfect. Shush. When me and Nino, we visited a Ford dealership in Plymouth, and they had I've been dreaming about the Ford Focus RS was the perfect car. I loved it for ages. I always thought it was an incredible car, and I sat in it, and I'm so short I cannot drive it. The only way I could drive a Ford Focus RS, because it doesn't have a seat riser on it, and the seat is so far down that I was like this, and I was like, oh, thank you for the follow. Oh, Jesus, that's... that's vaguely suspicious, isn't it? I think they might be bots. I'm going to suspect they're bots. I mean, at least my figures look good. Lol. I don't even know what you do about that. Oh, I accidentally... Ooh. Yeah, that's probably a good shot if they got a bot removal script. I doubt it's a huge raid. I suspect, looking at those names, that those are bots. To be honest, hang on, let me just hide this, because I'm going to open my Twitch thing. Zavoto got 6,000 bots in one go. Because what people do is they basically send a bunch of bots after someone as a follow thing. So they forget loads of bots and they report their account for requesting loads of bot follows and try and get them cancelled, which is very rude. Surprisingly rude. Yeah, he had 6,000 bots follow him, and then he had to go through and remove them all, and then he went back down because he went from. Don't get why people do that. It's because they don't like furries. Yeah, there's not much more I can do about it, to be honest, is the problem. Like, you're like, oh, okay, there's just a bunch of bots following me. You can go through and report. No. Yeah, basically. They want to be like, haha, we got this furry cancelled. Something along those lines. Which is probably why they look for furries specifically doing suit streams, to be honest. Yeah, but it isn't really surprising, is it? I think that was it, though. There's not too many. Let me have a look at my profile, see how many I've got. Yeah, my thing's just stuck on it. Yeah. But it's not surprising. I'm curious now. I went up 384, so I got probably about 30 bots follow me, which isn't that many. Compared to, you know, Zavoto's 5,000 or so. It's just going to keep my thing triggering off. You think they would, like, have a setup so you can't get followed by too many in one go, but whatever. Yeah, so I shall have to, yeah, it's going to keep doing that. Do that. Here we go, it's gone now. Yeah, there wasn't too many that joined in one go. That's whatever. Actually, make this a bit bigger now, because I don't need Curious Cat anymore. If you find out who it is, sure, but I doubt it. You could probably have them for if you want to do it that way. It's just like, because technically Twitch is an income stream, you could probably report them for messing with your income stream, but it's very, very tricky. Normally you just wouldn't bother. Normally you just remove the bots and move on with your life, which is what I'll probably do. Well, I have to figure out who they were first. A stereotype about the fandom. I do think it's very not safe for work. I think there's a lot to say about, like, you know, where you can make it work. You don't necessarily have to be involved in it, for sure. I think people do put a bit too much into it. But I also think, like they were saying, you know, like yeah, I do think it's a much larger part, and I think we need to, like, either embrace it and just say, okay, it is a part of it, and because it's a part of being a human, so to speak, as well. Like, you can say it's a large part of the furry fandom, but it's a large part of a lot of things, so that is just what it is. We also need to be moderate about it and say, well, you know, we do have minors in the fandom. We have people who are not interested. You don't have to be... We can admit it's there, and it's a larger part, but we can also say, well, not everyone needs to be involved in it. Like, we don't need to force around people. We don't need to be, like, doing stuff on it. I think Twitter's system is actually pretty good for that, where you can have 2 separate accounts if you really want to have, like, an 18+ account where you do stuff with that side and then a normal account. I think that's a great solution to the problem, because I don't think there's many other ways around it. But yeah, I think that is definitely true. I don't think there's many ways around saying it. Oh, God, I'm going to have fun with that. I'm going to have to speak to Zavoto. I will shoot Zavoto a message after I finish the stream. Because am I open about... I think there's some more. Oh, no. They were in the channel anyway. Malicious communication law on the books. Probably. It's one of those like grey areas. Like unless they were doing something specific, like if I got reported and then Twitch were like, "Oh, by the way, you got follow botted. What were you doing?" Then I could say, "Watch the video," and I was like, "I don't know what's going on," and I then took action on it. Like you would know that if I left them there, then it would be suspicious. If I removed them, then they wouldn't bother. Like I said, Devoto had 5,000 pop into his stream. I think 30 or so. I think it got like 30, even not even that many. It's just what it is. Or the real accounts and I'm about to ban people and they're going to be very upset. Am I open about being in the community? My family, no. Nino's family, no. A couple of people I used to work with, no. And I haven't been working at the new place long enough to really justify it. But I probably will be because it's very annoying to try and lead a little bit of a double life, especially when you're doing more and more with it. So, when I'm, doing conventions, for example, it's very difficult to be like, I'm going away for the weekend. Where are you going? Oh, I'm going somewhere. Like, I was used to just lie and come up with like something really stupid. Like, oh, I'm off to Hollywood to go find my fame or whatever to try and put questions off. But to some degree, like, you can only do it so long. And I ended up giving in with some people I used to work with and just saying what it was. And then I'm glad I kind of recommended. And just start like coming up to stuff like, I guess it depends if you're following like the specific categories. Because normally I'm doing speedrunning, which isn't really clocked on by most fairies, which is right. But yeah, I don't mind being too open about it. I'm a bit better about it now than I was. And to be honest, getting the suit did that because I think to some degree it was like, well, it's very hard to avoid it. Oh yeah, that would make sense. Because my boy Tamari, who I'm hoping to do a stream with soon. It seems the Fandom is the nicest to the straight people. I do think that, and it really bothers me. I suspect it's because furries as a general, to some degree, certainly, and certainly some furries, like, take it as their safe space, especially when they're like, oh, well, I've had to be around straight people all my life and non-furries all my life, and suddenly I'm around all these furry people who are also gay. And then someone comes in being like, oh, I'm straight, and they're like, well, this is my little space of my other gay friends, and you can't play in my clubhouse, would be my guess. And I also think some people are just assholes, because you've certainly got, like, I've seen people come into chats where there's 18 plus content for all people, and they're like, I only want to see gay content. And you're like, well, the channel isn't for you, is it? Yeah, it doesn't bother me. Like, I've had straight friends, bisexual friends, gay friends. I've had friends who are girls, friends who are guys. It doesn't bother me in any which way or form, like, as long as they're, a decent person, which is stereotypical but true. But it does bother me when people do that, and I have spoken up about it several times. It's one of the things that I'm really very blatant on. Like, if someone says something that is, like, anti-straight, I'm like, well, don't do that. Basically, I have done that before now. I've had to speak up and say, like, a big one is normally if someone comes in and says they're straight, it's like, well, you haven't tried being gay yet. And you're like, well, you haven't tried not being an asshole yet, have you? So normally that shuts them up. What time is it? past. If you've got any more questions, feel free. Otherwise, I'm going to start wrapping it up probably because it's been an hour and a half. I'm very warm and I've got to go do some bot chasing. Very exciting work. And I wasn't planning on streaming for long anyway. I'm probably going to be... Don't know what day I'm going to stream this week. Maybe Thursday? As a gay person, why does it bother me? Because it would bother me the other way round. Because it would be happy for me. It would happen to me. Like, if I was in a situation... Like, for example, and it could happen, and it's like the opposite thing, but it's true. If you're in a situation with a load of straight people, and you come in and you're like, oh, by the way... and I'm like, oh, I'm gay. And they're like, well, you just haven't tried sleeping with a woman yet. And you're like, well, it's just an asshole question. Like, why would you suggest that someone's own taste is down to what they've done? Yeah, well, I mean, personally, I've slept with... I've had girlfriends before, so, they can't really pull that one on me. But I've definitely had people say it to... In fact, I've seen people say it to gay people, and it's the same reaction. It's, don't tell people what they can and can't be and do, regardless. Like, it doesn't bother me specifically because I'm gay and they're straight. It bothers me because they're a person with their own taste, same as I am, and I don't want it to happen to me. I want it to. If I don't want it to happen to me, I don't think it should happen to other people. And I think it's specifically, it's more annoying for me because I think it's a stereotype that's perpetuated as being okay to do, but it isn't okay the other way around. Like, you can't say it to other people, but people can say it to them. And I don't think that's okay. I think we're supposed to be a fandom that's very inclusive, and doing stuff that's exclusive to specific people isn't okay, because then what's the point in having an inclusive fandom? Hello, Piotr. What does this do? I go like this. Hello. And then you feel very special and warm inside, like this. When you tell people you know personally you're a fairy, so normally they're just like, what's that? And then I show them, and they're like, that's insane. Like, I show my parents. My parents were chill, but my parents are always chill. Bear in mind, when I came out to my parents and said, oh, by the way, I'm bringing a guy home for a date, they were just like, okay. And then they met him, and they were like, he's nice. And that was it. That was the entire reaction. Hello, just Candy Hunty? TSQ Candy Hunter, I presume. I don't know. I can't see. I'm Fox. My parents are chill about everything. They really are. Especially, I like to think that a lot of the fact that I'm so open with people and like so accepted of most people is because it comes from my parents, because they're the same with me. They were just like, whatever, it doesn't matter. My sister was like, the hell? And my niece cried. Yeah, I think it's an important step, I think, to doing it. Obviously, wouldn't do it unless it was completely safe to do. But yeah, it's good when they're accepting, because it's a nice first step, especially if you want to be able to do stuff like go out and see guys. But like I did, like it didn't really matter too much. I was 22 at the time when I came out to my parents, so they were just like, whatever, you're an adult. But it wouldn't have mattered whenever I did it, really, to them. I think they were just glad I got over with. Yes, I am actually going to, well, I've been recording this now, so I'm going to upload it to YouTube as well. And I'm probably going to clip it. But I'm certainly going to upload it to YouTube because I want to keep it, because I think this is a nice thing I won't do too often, because it'll exhaust it otherwise. But I know, I think hopefully next week we'll see about what happens. I want to do one of these with Tamaneko. That'll be coming up at some point, because I want to get back to it, because I'll finally be free of most uni work, so it'll be nice to go out and see people again. And I want to start doing a little bit more furry stuff, because I probably should, really, because it's like nice to interact with the community a bit more. Hello from Wales, Gabrielle. Yeah, I think people have enjoyed it, and certainly I got more viewers than come in for Wind Waker, but I think I will always still be primarily about doing speedrunning, because that's what I want to do. That's where I said I wanted. That's when I started doing streaming. I was like, I want to speedrun stuff. I want to get world records. It's kind of like it's a bit of a catch-22, because I want to do speedruns, but I don't really want to pretend that my community only exists in a vacuum. Like, if I'm going to have a community that come to watch me, then I need to help grow that community at the same time. Yeah, it's like, you know, and I think a lot of you guys do come and watch me speedrun, which I do appreciate, and we have a chat and a joke about it, and it is nice to like cool down a bit, because sometimes I do get annoyed when I'm speedrunning, in case you didn't tell. But I can't ignore the fact that there's a community that has grown around it, and I need to feed back into it to grow. It's kind of like, well, it's like a relationship. If a relationship, you know, happened to you, you still have to put some input into it. You can't just say, oh, well, you know, you just turn up when I want you to turn up, or whatever. You need to put in as much as you're going to get back out, and I don't mind doing the work in to do stuff like Q&As or community game events, which are something I'm looking at doing with Rocket League, you know, and like branch out a bit that way. And then I don't feel like when I do speedrunning, people will come in because they're coming in for the community stuff, and then they can stay to enjoy that. Especially because you guys probably know more about Wind Waker speedrunning now than you did at the start of it, certainly. Especially when I start branching into categories and 100% and all that, and it'll actually feel a bit more. Doggo shake! Hey, doggo! I just see a doggo tail by there. Thank you for the follow, Welsh Oren. Very much appreciate it. There's a doggo moment. Ellie! Ellie! You see a little tail wag. Hello! She must think I'm so weird. I'm just petting the dog. It's chill. But yeah, I'm going to cut it here because it has been over an hour and a half and that was pretty much my goalpost and I've run out of questions. I will be streaming one day this week. I don't know what day. Definitely not Wednesday. Probably not tomorrow because I've done 5 days in a row and I probably deserve a day off. Maybe I'll try Thursday. I'll depends what Nino does. Maybe Thursday. Definitely Friday. Who knows what the dog is thinking about? She's probably like, my dad's weird, which she thought anyway. Friday, I'll be doing Breath of the Wild. Certainly, because I want to get back to that because that was fun. Don't know what I'm doing Saturday. I've got 3 options. 3 or 3, depending. 3 options on what I want to do. So, I can either do... Because I'm not streaming Sunday in theory, unless something changes. If I am going out Sunday, which I think I am, I might be doing a stream in the evening. But I'll... forbidden hands. But I'll have the Saturday stream. So I'm either going to do one of a few things. I'm either going to be doing one of my practice games, which would be Super Mario 64, or, if you've never seen it before, it'll be an experience for sure, the original Legend of Zelda, the first one from 1986 on the NES. And if you've never seen it before, it's very cool. But it's because in a couple of months' time, I'm going to do a Zelda challenge where I speedrun a bunch of them. And 8-Bit Zelda is one of the first ones I'm starting with, and then I'm going to move on to Link to the Past. But it isn't too long. It's like 40, 50 minutes long, really. So I might do a stream where I'm just doing those. I just see a little dog snoop popping up by there. Option C is back to Wind Waker, but doing a category I've not done before, which gives me another 2 interest in High Deadly Game. I was just talking about finishing up. You've done this to me twice now. There's one called Any Percent No Barrier Skip. As you know, in Wind Waker, one of the biggest tricks I do, and you've seen me do them many times, is skipping the barrier in Hyrule Castle and then going straight into Ganon's Tower. If you see from my glitchless runs, there's an any percent run where you don't do that, but you do glitches everywhere else. And then there's another one called All Bosses and Triforce, where you basically do all the trials. I don't do the trial skip or anything. I do all that. So those are 2 options as well. And there's 2 categories I've not run, so it'd be nice to get a time in them as well. But that's a decision probably for later this week. I'd like... Ah, my biggest fans here. Thanks, Nicholas. But yeah, I might do the 8-Bit Zelda. I might concentrate on that for a bit. So that's not too bad to learn. Really, it's more just learning the route and not dying, to be honest, rather than anything else. There's only like 2 or 3 glitches in the entire thing. But yeah, not just ignore them if they're going to do that. They come in, they clearly have nothing better to do with their lives. I don't know why you do it. I genuinely wish I had like that much free time on my hands, trust me. But yeah, we'll see. I might do the 8-Bit Zelda. I might do Super Mario 64 because Wind Waker's kind of giving me a headache at the moment, in case it wasn't obvious. But yeah, other than that, I very much appreciate everyone coming to watch today. It's been an amazing stream. I think we can go raid Tamari. I think that would be a good one. Let's go see what Tam's up to. Oh, he's trying out his new VR model thing. I'm meant to do his Monday. I can't see anything. Yeah. I just put into Mario Lion. But yeah, otherwise I'll see you guys Monday evening. Friday evening. Maybe sooner, it depends. As I said, if you join my Discord, I'll have a bit more idea in there depending what I do on the Thursday. But yeah, otherwise I shall catch you guys again very soon. Thank you very much for coming. I've had a lot of fun. Here we go. Catch you guys soon, and bye-bye.